Hey there. Hey, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. All right. So I promise to go live every day, and it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm still going live. So for those of you who are here online, hey, Sarah. For those of you who are here online at this hour, I've been talking this week about exercising your success muscle. And if you maybe you've heard it before, just say in the chat if you've heard before this connection. If you've heard before that success is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. Right. So what that means, success is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. That means that you can have the absolute best strategy in the world. But if you don't have the psychology or the mind mastery to support that, you're not going to get to where you're going maybe ever, but certainly not as quickly, right? So talking about exercising the success muscle, remember that failure is simply a unit of growth and success is simply a unit of experience. And I talked yesterday about stillness. And I want to say to that, if you're in the early stages of your journey when it comes to stillness might be hard. Just give me some yeses if that's hard for you, because I starting out it felt impossible to me. Anytime I would sit down to meditate, and I was supposed to quiet my mind, the opposite would in fact happen, and my mind would start going $1,000,000 and a million miles a minute. So that's what can happen if you're early on that journey. So stillness and really kind of creating that quiet space doesn't necessarily come naturally, because we live in a society where there's this constant kind of go go go, push push push, do do do, and so slowing down is not necessarily the norm for a lot of people. So that slowing down and being and having that quiet, that actual internal quiet space can be a bit challenging in the beginning. So if what I was talking about yesterday from a slow down to speed up perspective, if just complete quiet time, is if you're not quite there yet, and your mind, hey Tyler, if your mind is not quite there yet from a being able to quiet your mind standpoint, some of the other ways to create that, early on for me, one of the other things that worked is there's a artist, it's spiritual music, it's actually music in Sanskrit, that I would listen to one song every night before I went to bed, and then one song when I woke up in the morning. So I would literally just sit in bed, put my headphones in, listen to one song, lay down, go to sleep, sit up, put my headphones in, listen to one song before I got out of bed and started my day. Her name is Jai Jagdish, and the album that I used to listen to was the one called I Am Thine. And when I was working in neurosurgery, this is something that I used to do when I was working in neurosurgery, and I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, and I was super, super stressed. Um, that small change alone, one song before bed, one song in the morning, literally changed my entire day and changed my stress levels. And it is important when you're talking about creating high levels of success, right? The reason that it's important to create high level success, from a place of peace and a place of ease and a place of grace versus that place of stress and overwhelm is stress is the number one cause of the three number one, killers, like, of disease, right? So the three main health conditions, that cause death, stress is the number one contributing factor to those three things. So it's really, really important on that journey to create ways to mitigate stress. And early on also, because I do come from that neuroscience background and that very heavily physical background, I have to see it in order to believe it, otherwise it's not real. So in those early times, I was not thinking. I'm just like mind, 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 right? Everything was just this power of mind. Everything was propelled by that. And what's important to acknowledge, and everything changed for me when I started to realize and actually implement that I am a mind, a body, a heart, and a soul, and that nourishing all of those elements and aspects of myself were important, because all of the money in the world is not going to feel good if you're mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally bankrupt. So on your success journey, it's important to build success that is sustainable and you build success, high levels of success that are sustainable, and you make it faster by doing some of these things in order to slow down. So you can slow down in order to speed up. Another thing that I used to do early on in that slower capacity was, there's still some movement involved, are a couple styles of yoga. So there's yin yoga, which is a restorative and relaxing yoga practice, and restorative or yin yoga. They're very similar yet different. I prefer yin yoga. That's my favorite go-to in that regard. And that was also something that I started doing many years ago when I still worked in neurosurgery. And I'll be fully transparent with you. I was the skeptical person that was like, what is up with all this meditation and yoga crap? At the time, I was so not on board. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. And even when I was in that environment where I was working so much and I was so stressed out, those things made a tremendous difference, a tremendous impact in how I was feeling and how I was really showing up in my job, really every day. How I felt, it was absolutely incredible. It was literally life-changing. So I speak to that from a place of experience. And so that's another way. And also, if you're someone who exercises, no matter what type of fitness that you're doing, yin yoga is also really, really great because it is also for deep connective tissue release. So it's also great for improving flexibility, which is also key, right, in your strength training journey. So those are the Instagram keeps freezing on me. Those are some of the stillness practices that work. So those are ways that you're creating more space, literally within your mind, within your body, and within your life. So by taking that time to slow down, you're actually speeding up, and it's extremely, extremely valuable. And then the other side of that, of exercising your success muscle, is movement. Right, is movement. So some form of physical activity on close to a daily basis. Now I'm in exercise like 3 to 5 days a week. I'm not a 7-day person. And there's some days that I really feel like I don't have a lot of time. So there's some days that I just kind of, incorporate dance throughout the day, because that's what I have time for. But from a success perspective, why is it so incredibly important and powerful to move your body in some capacity? It's important because it's your natural, right? That's how you're naturally increasing and setting off your endorphins. So if you're not doing it, right, it's one of those things where you're missing out on that just natural boost of how your mind and body are going to function at its highest capacity, in order for you to create high levels of success, again, without the stress. So whatever type of movement or physical activity works for you, right? If you're a runner, run. if you're a cyclist, I used to do a ton of Peloton. Like if that's your jam, do that, right? If it's strength training, do that. I prefer a mix of things. I still do yoga. The style of yoga that I like, aside from yin yoga, which is going to be that slower practice for you, the fast yoga practice that I like is booty yoga. And it's a matter of navigating what you like and what works for you, because what works for me may not work for you, and that's okay, as long as you're finding something that you enjoy, right? If it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So finding a way that you enjoy it. So from a yoga perspective versus those slow ones, which I do highly recommend, yin or restorative, particularly yin, but the other styles of yoga for me, that took a lot of trial and error, because I am not a hatha flow person. It's too slow for me. It's boring. I can't get into it. It was never my jam. But booty yoga, it's spelled B-U-T-I. Booty yoga is a form of yoga that's based in tribal dance. And the word booty is actually a Marathi Indian word that means something kept secret or hidden away. So it's really, really good, especially for the ladies. Booty yoga is really, really good for activating your feminine energy and opening up like your heart center, your heart chakra, your heart space. And it's a ton of fun. So that's still something that I do, that I really, really love. Hey, Alex. And so I really, really oh gosh, Instagram, I keep losing you. Come back, Instagram. There we go. And so that's one of my favorites from a yoga perspective, from the active perspective. I lift weights. There's some days that I just throw on music and I do a bunch of burpees because I'm a crazy person like that. And then, like I said, some days the only thing that I have time for is to dance it out. So that there some form of movement is just one of those natural ways that you're going to accelerate your success. Now, there's some little things that I sometimes do. If you're doing any sort of strength training that is rep based. Now, obviously, strength training doesn't necessarily have to include weights. It can even be just your own body weight. But one of the things, it's just a sneaky way for yourself whenever you're doing a strength-based workout training, whether it's like an 8 rep or a 10 rep thing. Especially sometimes I'll just do my own, but you can create powerful I am statements and do them with your reps. So for example, like if you're doing bicep curls and you're doing an 8 count bicep curl, you can say, I am strong and powerful. I am courageous and powerful, right? And you're doing that on your 8 count. And so you can just pick like 2. That was actually 10. I was doing those like as 10. That would be like 10 reps. So but you can adjust it accordingly. And where you're just doing 1 rep per word. So you're doing your reps, you're watching a workout video and you're doing your reps. But in your mind, as you do each rep, you're repeating an I am statement. And the reason that that I am statements are so powerful is because you're aligning with that identity. And so physical movement, so you have your stillness. So stillness is where you're connecting to that inner space and connecting to your inner power. And then when you do physical activity, and especially in conjunction with that, because I do my quiet time and then I do my workout. So you're anchoring the physical activity, that motion movement, you're now grounding and then anchoring in that strength and that power. So even when you're working out, allow that time to be intentional, right? That you're fully present working out and that you're fully present and connected to your power. And that's where those powerful I am statements come from. And you choose what they are. Again, I am powerful, I am unstoppable. What in the language that's most powerful is going to be the language that resonates most for you. But incorporating that and being fully present during that time and utilizing that is really, really going to change how the rest of your day goes and how you're showing up in the world the rest of your day. So both of those combined together, right? Some sort of stillness or quiet practice combined with come back, Instagram, a stillness or quiet practice combined with some sort of movement practice. And like I said, some days for me, it's dance, and because dance is fun and it lights me up. And that's actually why I love booty yoga so much, because it is dance based. But whatever, it's just a matter of choosing something that works for you. And your body does also require variety. That's something that's really important. As someone who has exercised since I was 11, it's really, really important to change it up, because your body does get used to repetition. And so you want to change up those styles. And like I said, certainly if you're someone who is just strength train focused, doing some of those slower things that are going to increase your flexibility, it's changing your inner world, right? And it's aligning, it's creating more of that shift from a mind, body, heart, and soul perspective. Yoga is the fastest, easiest way that I know to do that. And yin was literally a game changer for me, because because in yin you hold the postures for 3 to 5 minutes, and so it really is, you're actually strengthening your mind because it's not comfortable to hold a yoga posture, like a stretching based posture for that duration of time. So you actually have to, you're literally training your mind, strength training your mind during yin yoga, and increase your breathing. And I would always imagine that I was, as I was breathing, that I was sending those deep breaths and sending oxygen to that area. Like if you're doing a hip opening stretch, I would imagine that I was, my breaths, that I was sending a lot of oxygen to that area to help that deep connective tissue like open and relax. So that's something that's just and it's fun in a different way than booty, but either way. So stillness, right? Stillness to connect with that inner space and that inner power. And then movement, right? Movement to really ground and anchor it in. And both of those are going to create space that propels your success journey and makes it easier and faster. So no matter what type of success you're building, whether that's, business or financial success, or you're improving, your health, you're looking for more success from a health perspective. All of the things work together, right? You can't have overall success in one area without the others. Hey, Sebastian. So it's really important not to neglect, because again, if the path, right, is greater wealth and success, which was the path for me early on, was greater wealth and success, right? On that journey, what I ended up receiving was so much more. And I used to attempt to create it from that place of stress and overwhelm, and now I do it from a place of ease and flow, and it's much easier, and it's actually much faster, and you're creating that, and you're also improving your overall well-being, because again, all of the money in the world isn't going to feel good if you're mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally bankrupt, right? If you have a ton of money and you want to travel the world, but you've let your physical health go, and your physical health is in a state of crises, you're not going to be able to enjoy that, right, or reap the benefits of that financial monetary success. So it all works together. It's all extremely important. That's actually it for tonight. I kind of, because Sebastian just jumped on, it makes me want to keep talking, but that's it for tonight. I am going to be live tomorrow morning at 11:30. And that is literally celebrating your wins and Q&A. So you can ask me anything mind, money, success related, and I'm going to give you some laser coaching. And also, if you have any wins, big or small, that you want to celebrate and amplify, because what gets celebrated gets replicated, we'll be celebrating your successes. And I wish you a very peaceful and prosperous night of rest. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Now.